After selling another consumer product company, today's guest launched a new grill accessory business that has grown to be sold in several thousand retailers in the US and Canada. He shares the process he followed to get yeses from buyers for both online and brick and mortar retailers, and how to maximize your sales in each type of outlet.
Are you looking for new ways to make your sales grow? You've tried other podcasts, but they don't seem to know. Harvest the growth potential of your product or service as we share stories and strategies that'll make your competitors nervous. Now, here's the host of the Harvest Growth Podcast, John LeClaire.
Welcome back to the show. I'm really excited to be speaking with Paul Cira. He's the president and founder of Proud Grill. Proudgrill.com is the URL you can check out. He's invented quite a line of grill accessories that are really cool. I've been using these products. They're fantastic. He's going to describe what they are, what they do, how they're different, that kind of thing. And we'll get into that in the show. But I encourage you to listen. He's got a great story behind how he's built this business as well. But first of all, Paul, I just want to welcome you to the show.
Thanks a lot, John. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. I know how busy you are to join us and share your story with our audience. So first of all, let's talk about the business. So tell us about what is Proud Grill, what are your products, and how'd you get started?
Sure. The Proud Grill Company, we founded in 2018, and our mission really is to make the grill experience better. That's what we're all about. And we got started with one product, which is our flagship product today. It's called the Q-Swiper Barbecue Grill Cleaner. And it's kind of interesting because I had just exited my prior business and I was barbecuing and I stepped on a wire bristle. But I didn't know what I'd stepped on at the time. It was really sharp and painful. I actually thought it was a piece of glass. And when I went to examine my toe, luckily, I saw this wire bristle and I went, I couldn't believe it. It was so painful. Then I did a little bit of research and I found out that, hundreds of people were going to the emergency room every year because wire bristles were getting dislodged from their steel wire grill brushes, the traditional grill brush, and they get deposited on the grill and you can't see them. They get stuck there. And then what happens, you cook your food on top of it and then you ingest it. And then end up swallowing a wire bristle. And it is extremely painful. And most people end up in the emergency room. And for some, it takes weeks to even diagnose what's wrong with you because it's so small. So when I found that out, I became very intrigued about how do you make a wireless grill cleaner that actually works, something that's bristle free. And so the Q-Swiper came about, and in describing it, the Q-Swiper is like it's like a Swiffer for your barbecue grill, if you can imagine. You attach a moist wipe, which is moistened with food contact safe ingredients and natural cleaning agents, and you attach it to our brush, and you use that to swipe away the grease and grime. And people took to it because they're familiar with that whole concept. And cleaning with wipes, very common thing to do. You clean your bathroom counters, your floors now, your kitchen with wipes, and attaching it to the tool, the grill brush, really became an effective way to clean it. And it has a lot of benefits, not only being bristle free, but also you clean your grill with a new wipe every time. You're not reusing. Traditionally, use that grill brush. It's been sitting there for a year and a half, no matter how many cooks you've had. You pull out the grill brush and you start grilling with this grill brush. It's pretty filthy. And you wouldn't clean your kitchen pots and pans with a dirty rag, but you kind of have a different philosophy with your grills, which is interesting. So what was the beauty of this too is you clean your grill grates with a new wipe every time. And you're not reusing that dirty grill brush over and over again. So it's just a clean and healthier grill, and in addition to being bristle free, and people really love how easy it is to use. It's just it just makes grill cleaning easy. So and that really resonated with people. We've had good success with it both on the retail side and on e-commerce.
And you can check all these products out at proudgrill.com. As I mentioned, I've got some of them here. So the Q-Swiper wipes, as you talked about. I just want to talk about these because this is one thing where, you think about, let's pull that out. If you compare these wipes, and it's kind of hard to see maybe on video, or obviously those that are listening via audio, go check out the website to learn more. But there's, I don't know what you call these, but raised rough edges that help with wiping, right?
Yeah, we call those 3D nodules. Yeah, there's two really main differences between a regular cleaning wipe, and that is those raised 3D nodules. Those nodules help lift the grime. That moisture in there helps absorb the grease. So you're absorbing the grease, removing the grime. And I think you'll notice the other big difference, John, is just the thickness of that wipe, right? It's really tough. It's not like a baby wipe or anything like that, or even a household cleaning wipe. It's much thicker. It's tough.
If you took like a Lysol wipe or whatever and tried to wipe your grill with it, they're great for cleaning the kitchen or whatever, but on your grill, it would just eat that up. And this is, I discovered this even my first time using it. I've been using it for a long time now, and they work really well, but it's rough and tough, and it really gets out that grime and stays together. So it's well developed. So I just want to make sure that was clear for those that might be hearing wipe and thinking, is it like a household wipe? It's very different and very powerful.
That's true. That's one of the things is that I think impedes, or for some people it may be difficult to overcome, is I'm going to clean my grill with a wipe type of thing. And then they understand how tough it is, and they and it doesn't. Yeah, we get really no complaints at all about it ever tearing. So it's really built strong.
Yeah, definitely agree. And you talked about your flagship product. I've got an example of it here. Again, the Q Swiper here, that is the brush that then holds that wipe in place and works really well. And this was how you got started back in, I think you said 2018, right? And this has grown really well. And then what have you done since then to grow the business? This has been successful. Now to add on other accessories.
Right. So yeah, we started with that, what you're handing there, which is a kit that has both the brush and the wipes in it. And we sell the refill as well. So the whole strategy was really to build out Proud Grill, have that flagship product, especially a lot of my experience has been selling products to retailers and getting retail distribution. And, they don't want to always deal with, a one product vendor, right? They like a larger assortment from the vendor. They're very busy. They're dealing with a lot of vendors. So they want to make sure that the company they're dealing with is going to bring a lot of innovation to them as they grow the business. So really, that was our starting point. And then you want to really leverage that once you get distribution with a retailer and bring out additional products to expand your lineup. So we then came out with our slide and serve barbecue skewers, which were just a new way to do kebabs. They're flat and they're perfect for grilling shrimp, but again, very unique. Nothing like them on the market. We came out with an award-winning grill basket called the Ultra Versatile Grill Basket. And this was, chosen as the best overall grill basket by Good Housekeeping the last 2 years. And so just building on that with new products. And like I said, our mission was really to make the grill experience better. So whenever I go and look at new products, I'm always looking at a twist or something different. Our products they're either patented, either design or utility, or have some type of difference that really is going to make their grill experience easier, better. And that's what we're all about. And so that really is kind of the bar that I look for, because there's lots of companies out there who are doing all the different type of grill accessories, but we just take it up a notch. So we've done that to expand our business. And then we looked at the Q Swiper itself and how do you grow shelf space with the Q Swiper. And so we came out with a steam clean version with a long handle. Some people, we did some research and we know that about 40% of the people like to clean it cold, 40% like to clean it hot, and 20% either way. So we wanted to expand, because the original Q Swiper, it's moist wipes to use on a cool grill. So we wanted to make sure we appeal to 100% of the market almost with coming up with a line extension with a hot grill. So those are some of the different approaches we've taken.
You mentioned the Good Housekeeping Award, and obviously they hear about things that are top selling items, but there's always a process behind it. Any advice on people that are trying to submit for awards like that? And obviously you have to have a great product, right? They're only going to give awards out to especially reputable organizations like that. But how do you start that process so they're even aware of you?
Yeah, so different ways. Sometimes it's just attending a trade show, and sometimes they might be attending a trade show and they'll come by and take a look at your products, and then make sure they're aware of them so they can either some people who do these testings, you can't give them product. They always have to buy it themselves sometimes because they want to make sure they're buying the product that anybody would be picking off the shelf or from a e-commerce store. Other ways I found them just going on, a lot of times I will Google best grill brush or best grill basket, see what shows up, see what's up there. And a lot of times it might be an article from Good Housekeeping or an article from other publications like Popular Mechanics or whatever is suitable for your product. And take a look at the author, then go into LinkedIn and check out their profile and try to connect with them. And so there's different ways you can approach the publishers to make sure you can get their product in front of them for them to test and evaluate.
And I want to get back a little bit to, you talked about these line extensions and how they really help to grow your business. And your first product, as you mentioned, was the Q Swiper, right? This really successful product. But your company name is Proud Grill. Can you talk a little bit about the decision you made to not call it, because it's tempting, right? We've got this great success. Should I call my company the Q Swiper? And so how has it, I guess, helped you to have a brand name that is different from your core or initial product?
Sure. Yeah, I didn't want. I've seen it happen a lot, John. They fall into the trap of calling their name after their first baby type of thing, their first product they introduce, and it's not always a great idea. I didn't want to be the Q Swiper company because, and I also wanted to make sure that when I'm dealing with retailers, as I mentioned before, we're more than just one product, right? And we wanted to be the Q Swiper is going to be a brand within our overarching brand, which our company name is Proud Grill. No different than Kellogg's Rice Krispies, for example. Kellogg's will have a number of brands under Kellogg's or whatever, as an example. And that's kind of the approach I take. Plus, you're usually dealing with category managers, whether either e-commerce or with retailers, and they're usually they're going to be either the outdoor buyer or the grill buyer or the grill accessories buyer. So you want to make sure you have your branding suits that from an overall company perspective, and and even a consumer knows that, hey, there's a grill company behind this Q Swiper brand, right? And I trust that.
And it really gives credibility, right? When you've got that parent brand, you buy one of the products, you love it. Now you trust the skewers or the grill basket because you know it's going to be good quality under that same parent brand.
Exactly. So everything, Proud Grill, ultra versatile grill basket, Proud Grill slide and serve skewers, and so forth. Absolutely right.
And you also mentioned your background previous to this company. You had another consumer product company that you grew successfully and sold off that business. How did that help you to maybe start further forward or with fewer mistakes in the beginning? How do you think that helped you, having that background, even though it was a totally different industry and market, to be more successful more quickly?
Yeah, I think you always take your life experiences, your work experience, and it just builds one step on each other. And I think my the prior startup I had just helped from an overall management, understanding all the different cogs in the wheel that you have to deal with, and understanding those important touch points where you need to focus on. And a lot of times in our business, it's really sales and marketing that are really key drivers. And understanding those elements that are what are the key success factors there that you've learned previously that really give you a jump start in starting what I'll call company number 2 or project number 2. And I think what happens is, yeah, you do get a jump start. You get off to a quicker start. because some of the, and you can avoid some of those pitfalls that you hit, in the first one.
For sure. And now back to the Proud Grill. So let's get back to this product we're talking about today, or line of products. You've had a lot of success online, but I think even more so, or certainly as much, in retail as well. So both brick and mortar and online retail. What have you found, or maybe differences in the selling process when you're selling into retail versus online? And maybe as you answer the question, you can talk about, for our audience's sake, what retailer, some of your biggest retailers that you're currently in.
Yeah, our products are distributed fairly well in both Canada and the United States, and it is different. And COVID was obviously a big catalyst for this industry because of the people staying at home and grilling more. Grilling sales was one of those categories that had a lot of growth in the 2020 to 22 basically, which also helped. And we're available in Canada and every major hardware retailer like Home Depot Canada and Rona Canada and Canadian Tire. In the U.S., we're available at over 3,000 Ace stores, Do It Best stores, Camping World, etc., and a lot of independent and specialty barbecue stores as well, which were really important when we started out, just to prove the concept and so forth. And e-commerce has been an interesting one because I'm not as experienced in that, so I did have to rely on help, or doing a lot more learning on that and so forth. But in the end of the day, if you're dealing with, like, if you're looking at Amazon as obviously the largest e-commerce platform, at the end of the day, the biggest difference between the two is, in retailers, traditional retailers, there's a finite of products that they have to choose from. It might be 10. And when you go on e-commerce, or, it looks like it's almost infinite because there's thousands of options. And so I think that's one of the biggest differences is how you market and make sure your product on an e-commerce standpoint is rising to the level where you can get awareness and be one of those, narrow that gap of a consumer's choice when they're looking at it. So that's probably one of the biggest differences. When you're dealing with the retailer, of course, is always emphasizing, the differentiation of the product, the consumer success of the product, and the profitability of the product for the retailer, obviously. But one of the things I did was I tried to marry the two, John, when I started. I knew that a lot of retailers, although they may not like competing with Amazon, Amazon is an open book. So I wanted to make sure I was successful. One retailer can go and see how you're doing on Amazon, kind of thing, but they can't go look at their brick and mortar competition. They have no idea exactly how you're doing, right? So I wanted to make sure before I went really strong on the brick and mortar side that I had a good foundation on Amazon, as both from a product review standpoint and product ranking standpoint. So there's investment there to get your product, like I said, using strategies and investment to get your product up in the search so consumers can see it, and then making sure that we had great feedback. So I've been in meetings with retailers where I see them go on Amazon checking to see what my product reviews are, right? So having the strong product reviews, because they think, well, this kind of looks neat, I like this, but then they look on an e-commerce site and they see, oh, you've got 4.5 stars, my intuition was right, type of thing. So that really helps, and it's an open book, and there's a trust there that now validates what I was telling them.
And if I could summarize, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I want to see if you agree with this statement. It almost feels like, and we've experienced this too, if you compare online retail versus brick and mortar retail, and I would separate out Amazon. It's very different from like selling into Walmart.com or Lowe's.com or whatever it might be. It's easier to get listed in online retail because there's 1,000 items or more, right, that they might carry in your category. Whereas in retail, they're very restricted because they got shelf space to deal with, right? So it's easier to get listed online, but it's easier to get sell through sometimes in or stand out, right, in brick and mortar because there's limited shelf space. If you're in a category where people are going to be searching or in that aisle anyways, it's, there's only a couple maybe of competitors that might be close into you. So it's really, it changes the game where it's more work up front to get in brick and mortar, but it's more work to get marketed or to stand out or to get sales in the online side because it's really noisy, right? It's getting, like, Amazon is a perfect example of that. I think it's very easy, relatively speaking, to list on Amazon. There's banking stuff, whatever. But to get on there, to get approval to be listed, easy, right? You can list almost anything on Amazon. But if that's all you do, you'll never stand out and you'll never get those reviews. I'm so glad you brought that up, that you can see really sales history. There's tools to do that on Amazon for competitors or if a buyer's looking at you. But reviews are the easiest side. Getting those positive reviews and having success early on can drive so much more in other marketing channels, especially when buyers are involved. I don't know if I said that in maybe a similar fashion.
That's a great summary. I agree 100% with what you're saying and that exactly. Yeah. Amazon makes it real easy, or any e-commerce, they make it easy to get your product on there. And you're right, it's much more difficult getting in bricks and mortars, and the length it takes. This can be a year or 2 year process, or longer sometimes, to get your product listed at a major retailer, for example. The other thing I made sure from to get some early on success too on the retail side, John, was knowing that, and given my category is more seasonal, making sure you've got merchandising displays that can get you in the store. So if they say, we can't put you on the shelf right now, we would have a floor stand or a counter display available, so they could take advantage of the seasonal sales, and maybe as a good test to see how it does that way without making a commitment to giving up real estate on their shelf, to try it off shelf to start with and see how that goes. And of course, that's a great way also to get in front of the consumer because it's disruptive in the store.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said. I want to talk about Yellowstone for a minute. So you've got one of your product lines is Yellowstone. If people are watching on YouTube, we can see maybe in video. If you're not, you can check it out on their website. But you've got a line of products that have the Yellowstone TV show license on there. Can you talk a little bit about, how did you get that to help our audience if they're looking for license deals to get that? And how has it helped your business?
Sure. So Yellowstone was an interesting one. We did come out with a very unique barbecue glove, which I licensed with Kevlar. And in fact, Kevlar helped me develop the product and source the product as well. DuPont did. And so I had this barbecue glove that was very much Western inspired, had a split leather cuff, and that kind of started looking at it. And being a fan of Yellowstone, the TV show, I just started to think about a lot of the people there who are watching that show are probably grillers. So I've had some licensing experience in the prior startup I had. It was mostly in the children's entertainment side, but I was intrigued by this and bounced it off a few people first, and people thought it was a good idea. And I could see that of any show I've ever seen, I've never seen more branding in a TV show than Yellowstone, whether that's on their jackets, their hats, the helicopters, their pickup trucks. It was everywhere. So I just went on LinkedIn and found the person who was in charge of consumer products, explained who I was, and they introduced me to the manager responsible for the licensing of Yellowstone with Paramount Viacom at the time, and just started up a conversation at that time, and my interest in the category was open, so I went and pursued it, and it's been a very interesting license, and it's been good because for two reasons. One, it's grown the credibility with the retailers. You've got a major license partner, and something that's unique. No one can offer. You're the only one offering this brand. And second of all, it did give me an opportunity to bring in. And I talked about innovation, and that is opportunity to bring in some of the innovative products under a branding that consumers were aware of, and an item that was very giftable. So, a lot of couples watch the show together, for example. So Father's Day gifts and Christmas gifts, that's really been, it helps from that standpoint, from the sales standpoint, really help, for example, especially help even out my holiday sale with my I would say my Q4 got a lot bigger with the Yellowstone. And so it helped balance out my strong Q2 sales as well. So it's been a good overall. It's been a good partnership, and I know the show's restarting next month or in November, this month in November. So looking forward to a strong quarter with it.
It's a great advice to think about LinkedIn. You've mentioned that a couple times in reaching out to buyers and reaching out now in the Yellowstone to find the right person to talk to. It's such a powerful tool. It is a great resource for our audience to look into. If you're trying to get a hold of whatever it might be, you can find them typically on LinkedIn in one way or another.
Yeah, because in the old days, there's that gatekeeper, right? You couldn't get through to you might talk to their assistant, but you couldn't get through to the decision maker, and it was just a simple question. But when you can just succinctly put on LinkedIn why you're contacting them, and usually they're going to respond.
Yeah, I found that as well. Most people, if they're active on LinkedIn, you get the occasional person that's on there, just doesn't go on and spend the time. But if they're active on there, most people will respond when you're providing some sort of value or, a connection that's going to be meaningful to them. And it may be, we've talked a lot on this show in previous episodes about mentors as well, people to help you in your industry. Again, a great resource for that. Well, Paul, is there another resource that comes to your mind that has been helpful to you in your business, a book or a website or something else?
One of the online retailers that helped kind of got me going in my early days was called the Grommet, and they've resurfaced today with a different model under the same branding. One of the founders there wrote a book called How to Make Stuff Now, and it's a great resource. I really highly recommend it to anybody starting up. It just gives you the basics of how to launch a consumer product, especially how to launch a consumer product, everything from product development to marketing and sales. And even though it was written a few years ago, a lot of the basic principles are still very valid. I think that's a great resource.
It is a great website, and they are very different than they used to be when they originally founded, in good and bad ways, I think. But it's a tool that a lot of our clients and guests on this show have made good use of. So it's a good thing to check out for sure. Well, is there anything I didn't ask that you think could be helpful for our audience?
Just stay away from the wire grill brush. John, but besides that, I would just say that, like any venture, you're going to have peaks and valleys, right? You're going to feel really good when you have a really strong success, and you should celebrate it. And then, when things don't go your way all the time, and they certainly don't, I would just say, don't let that get you down. Try to keep an even keel and just keep on moving forward. It can't always be a touchdown or a home run every week and every month. And in order to get those home runs, you just got to keep practice, keep working at it, but don't let it get you down, and keep on moving, and always keep on the positive side. That would be my only word of advice and to any entrepreneur.
That's great advice. And I do encourage our audience also check out Paul's website. It's proudgrill.com, where you can find out about the products we talked about today and see the great work he's done, and check it out there in your local retailer or on Amazon as well. But certainly the website to certainly learn more. And did you know you can meet with a member of my team absolutely free for a 30-minute strategy consultation? We've launched and grown hundreds of products since 2007. and learn some of our strategies while growing OxyClean back in the Billy Mays days. We're here to help. So please go to harvestgrowth.com and set up a call to learn more.